My girlfriend always keeps bringing up how perfect her ex was and even suggested I take tips from him. So I dump her in the exactly same way like her ex did. I, 28M, met my girlfriend, 26F, about 18 months ago at a mutual friend's barbecue. The connection was instant. She was smart, funny, and we shared similar interests in outdoor activities and traveling. Things progressed naturally, and within a few months, we were officially dating. The first 6 months were amazing. We traveled together, tried new restaurants, and spent quality time with each other's friends and family. Everyone commented on how well we complemented each other. But around the 7-month mark, things started to change. It began subtly at first, occasional comments about her ex and how he used to handle certain situations. At first, I didn't think much of it. People sometimes reference past relationships, right? But then the comparisons became more frequent and increasingly detailed. During dinner one evening, she mentioned how her ex always knew exactly what wine to pair with each dish. When we were planning a weekend getaway, she reminisced about how her ex would create detailed itineraries weeks in advance. Even during simple moments like watching TV together, she'd slip in comments like, "My ex had this amazing way of giving shoulder massages while we watch movies." I tried to have an honest conversation with her about how these constant comparisons made me feel. She apologized and promised to be more mindful. Things improved for about 2 weeks before she fell back into the same pattern. But what really got to me was when she started suggesting I should learn from her ex's approach to relationships. She said one evening while we were having dinner at her place, "My ex had this great way of showing affection. He would leave little notes around the apartment with things he loved about me. Maybe you could try something like that." Another time, after a minor disagreement about household chores when she stayed over at my place, she said, "My ex and I had this system where we divide tasks based on our schedules. It worked perfectly. Maybe we should try his approach." The breaking point came during a dinner with our friends. Someone asked about our plans for the upcoming holiday season. Before I could answer, she jumped in, "Well, my ex had this amazing tradition where he'd surprise me with a weekend getaway every Christmas. He planned everything down to the smallest detail." She then looked at me and added, "Maybe you could get some tips from him about holiday planning?" Our friends looked uncomfortable, and I felt completely humiliated. Later that night, I asked her more about her ex and their breakup. That's when she revealed something that made everything click into place. Her ex had ended their 3-year relationship by gradually becoming distant over a month, then taking her to their favorite restaurant, where he calmly explained that he had outgrown the relationship and needed to move on. According to her, it was the most mature and considerate way to end things. The way she described it, with this mixture of admiration and lingering attachment, made me realize 2 things. First, she wasn't over him, and second, she was subconsciously trying to mold me into his image. But what struck me most was how she kept praising his method of breaking up with her, calling it respectful and thoughtful. That's when I decided to give her exactly what she seemed to want, a breakup just like her ex had done. I spent the next few weeks carefully planning every detail, making sure to mirror his approach perfectly. I became slightly distant but not obviously so, maintained our routine but with subtle changes, and finally, made a reservation at what had become our favorite restaurant during our relationship. During those weeks of planning, her behavior only reinforced my decision. She continued with her comparisons, seemingly oblivious to how inappropriate they were. When I bought her flowers, she mentioned how her ex knew her exact favorite variety. When I cooked dinner, she talked about how her ex had learned to make authentic Italian dishes from his time studying abroad. It was like living in the shadow of a ghost. The weekend before our planned dinner, she reached a new level. We were at a friend's engagement party, and she spent nearly 20 minutes telling a group about how her ex had proposed to his new girlfriend. She had found out through social media and couldn't stop talking about how creative and romantic his proposal was. "He always did have a way with grand gestures," she said, giving me a pointed look. I maintained my composure through it all, playing the role of the understanding boyfriend while finalizing my plan. I made the reservation at the upscale French restaurant we had discovered together 3 months into our relationship. I chose a Thursday evening, just like her ex had done. I even made sure to dress in a way she had once mentioned her ex would dress for important occasions. The evening of the dinner, everything was perfect. The weather was mild, the restaurant was busy enough to provide ambient noise but not too crowded, and we were seated at a quiet corner table. She was in a great mood, having just received a promotion at work. As we settled in, she actually started telling me about how her ex had celebrated her last promotion with a surprise party. I let her finish her story, then smiled and said, all these months of hearing about your ex have been really enlightening. She looked surprised, probably because I'd never directly addressed her ex stories this way before. What do you mean? Well, I continued, maintaining the calm, measured tone she had so often praised her ex for using. I've learned a lot about what you value in a relationship. It's helped me understand exactly what needs to be done. Her face lit up. I could tell she thought this was leading to some grand gesture, where I'd promised to be more like her perfect ex. Really? That's so mature of you to take it that way. I always thought if you could just learn from some of his approaches. I have learned. I interrupted smoothly. I've learned that you're not over him. I've learned that you're trying to recreate your relationship with him through me. And most importantly, I've learned exactly how to end this relationship in a way you'll appreciate. The color drained from her face as realization began to dawn. What are you saying? I'm saying that, just like your ex did, I've realized I've outgrown this relationship. And just like him, I'm ending it in what you've described as the most mature and considerate way possible, at our favorite restaurant, with a calm explanation. Her face went through a rapid series of emotions: shock, confusion, hurt, and then anger. This isn't funny, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm not trying to be funny, I replied, keeping my tone even. I'm doing exactly what you've spent months praising. Breaking up with someone at their favorite restaurant, after a period of gentle distance, with a calm and rational explanation. Isn't this what you called the perfect way to end things? She gripped her wine glass so tightly I thought it might break. You're breaking up with me because I talked about my ex? No, I'm breaking up with you because you're clearly not over your ex, and you've spent our entire relationship trying to turn me into him. The constant comparisons, the helpful suggestions about how he would handle situations, the endless stories about his perfect qualities. It's not healthy for either of us. That's not fair, she protested. I was just trying to help our relationship grow. He had some really good. See? You're doing it right now, I interrupted. Even in this moment, you're defending him and his methods. You're so caught up in idolizing your past relationship that you can't even see how it's destroying your present one. She started to cry, but not the quiet, dignified tears she had described her ex handling so well. These were messy, mascara-running tears. You're being cruel, she accused. Actually, I'm being exactly what you wanted, methodical, calm, and direct, just like your ex. Isn't this the mature approach you praised so many times? This is completely different. How? Because it's happening to you this time instead of being something you can romanticize in hindsight. She tried a different approach. All couples have issues they need to work through. We can fix this. Maybe we could try couples counseling. Did you and your ex try couples counseling? I asked, knowing the answer. No, but then I'll pass. I wouldn't want to deviate from the perfect breakup model you've been advocating. The waitress approached our table, noticed the tension, and quickly retreated. My now ex grabbed her purse and stood up abruptly. You planned this whole thing just to hurt me, she accused. No, I planned it to give you exactly what you've been glorifying. I even made sure to choose Thursday night, just like he did. I'm wearing the kind of outfit you mentioned he wore for serious occasions. I picked a nice restaurant, just like he did. I'm being calm and rational, just like he was. I'm giving you the perfect breakup experience you've talked about so much. The only difference is that this time you're experiencing it instead of just reminiscing about it. She stormed out of the restaurant that night, but that wasn't the end of it. Over the next few weeks, her behavior showed me exactly why her ex had chosen such a calculated approach to ending things with her. First, she started showing up at my apartment unannounced. Your ex probably didn't appreciate unexpected visits either, I said the first time, not opening the door beyond the security chain. Wasn't that one of his perfect boundaries you kept mentioning? She left, but not before warning me that we weren't finished talking about this. Then came the item hostage situation. She texted me claiming she had found some of my belongings at her place, including my grandfather's vintage watch that I distinctly remembered leaving on my own nightstand. She insisted I needed to come over in person to get them, saying we should talk things through face to face like mature adults. The irony of her trying to manipulate a meeting while preaching about maturity wasn't lost on me. I responded by texting her, "Interesting. I've been recording the locations of my valuables ever since you started comparing me to your ex." I have dated photos of my watch at my apartment. Would you like me to involve the police in retrieving my lost items? The watch mysteriously appeared in my mailbox the next day. But her most entitled move came during a dinner party at our mutual friend's house. She had convinced them to invite both of us, not telling me she would be there. She arrived with a folder full of printed photos and screenshots of us together, along with a PowerPoint presentation, yes, really, analyzing our relationship and listing all the ways we could fix things. In front of everyone, she tried to stage what she called a relationship intervention. She had even prepared a schedule for how we would rebuild our connection, including mandatory daily phone calls and weekly date nights where I would learn from her ex's best practices. Our friends looked mortified as she started her presentation. This was her power play. She thought that in front of an audience, I would either have to go along with her plan or look like the unreasonable one. Instead, I calmly took out my phone and played a recording from our last dinner together, where she had spent 10 minutes describing how her ex's method of breaking up was the most mature and considerate way possible. Then I played clips from several other occasions where she had praised his breakup approach, followed by a clip of her numerous comparisons between me and him. Since you're so fond of presentations, I said, here's evidence of why this relationship ended. Now, would you like to explain to everyone why it's mature and considerate when he does it, but unacceptable when I follow the exact same approach? She left the dinner party in tears, but her attempts at manipulation weren't over. A week later, she orchestrated what I can only describe as a bizarre, recreated date scenario. She reserved the exact table at the French restaurant where I had broken up with her and asked our mutual friends to convince me to meet them there for a group dinner. When I arrived, only she was there, wearing the same dress from our first date, with a slideshow ready on her tablet comparing our relationship timeline with her previous relationship's successful milestones. I simply turned around and left, but she followed me to the parking lot, insisting that I wasn't following the proper relationship resolution protocol that her ex had established. According to her, I was supposed to give her exactly 3 chances to fix things because that's what happened in her previous relationship before the final breakup. Her next move was to contact my sister through social media, trying to get her to arrange a chance encounter at our family's annual barbecue. She sent my sister a detailed document titled, Why Your Brother Needs to Follow the Proven Breakup Recovery Steps. My sister, who had heard plenty about her behavior, responded by blocking her and sending me screenshots of the conversation. The entitlement reached a new level when she created a shared calendar invite series titled Relationship Restoration Timeline and somehow got my email from a mutual friend. She scheduled daily reflection sessions and weekly improvement meetings for the next 6 months, each with detailed agendas comparing her ex's conflict resolution methods to our current situation. I responded by setting up an email filter to automatically decline all her calendar invites with a message. Sorry, I'm busy taking tips from your ex on how to maintain boundaries post-breakup. The final straw came when she showed up at my gym. She had never been a member there and clearly signed up just to orchestrate another accidental meeting. She approached me while I was on the treadmill, armed with yet another folder of relationship improvement strategies based on her ex's workout routines and how couples should sweat together for better bonding. I stopped my workout, looked at her directly, and said loud enough for nearby people to hear, "You know what I learned from all your stories about your ex? That he was right to end things with someone who can't respect boundaries. I'm calling the gym management now to report harassment, and my next call will be to discuss a restraining order. Would you like to explain to a judge why you're stalking me with PowerPoint presentations about your ex-boyfriend habits?" That finally seemed to break through. The color drained from her face as she realized how her behavior might look to outsiders, especially in a legal context. She quickly left the gym, and I haven't seen her since, though I heard through mutual friends that she's been telling people she's taking a break from dating to focus on personal growth. It's been 3 months now, and I've processed enough to see things clearly. While my method of breaking up might seem calculated, it was necessary to break through her bubble of idealized past relationships. Sometimes, the only way to show someone their toxic behavior is to let them experience it from the other side. As for me, I'm focusing on moving forward. I've started dating again, and the first thing I look for now is how someone talks about their past relationships. It's amazing how much you can learn about a person from the way they handle their relationship history. And yes, I've kept all the recordings and documentation of her behavior, not to use them, but as a reminder to trust my instincts when something feels off in future relationships.